Dear students, our next topic is Earth satellites. So before going to that, let us have a review of fundamentals. Now you look at the diagram. This is taken from the old 10th class textbook Physical Sciences. Here a person is standing at some height from Earth surface. See, a body is, when it is just dropped, it is falling onto the surface of earth vertically. See here, the object is just dropped. Afterwards, he has thrown the object in horizontal direction, parallel to earth, in a horizontal direction with some velocity. He projected the body. Then it traveled along a parabolic trajectory and fell on the surface of earth. Next time, he increased the speed of throw. With more velocity, he has thrown the same body. This time also it has traveled with a parabolic trajectory, but this time the radius of curvature is more. See here, the curvedness is less here. So if you go on increasing its speed, then this curvature will the radius of curvature matches with the radius of earth, so that the object just moves around and around the earth without falling on the earth. So that is the basic principle in launching artificial satellites to move around our earth. Now you look at the first diagram. Here an object is suspended with a string, and here a loop is made so that it can move freely around the nail. Okay, now it is at rest. Now in the string, as the gravitational force is working downwards, tension in the string is working upward, so that the object is at rest. Okay, now if this object, if you apply some horizontal force on the body and you give appropriate speed to that object, it will describe a circle. It will describe a circle. See why it is moving in a circle. Here, if the stone is not tied to the nail with a string and you apply just a pushing force, so that you impart some speed v, it will just travel in the straight line. But when it was tied to the nail by a string, and when there is a force of tension, and when this tension force is at a right angle to the velocity direction, then that force makes the object move in a circle. Similarly here, in an atom, in the nucleus positive charge will be there, and around the nucleus electrons will be revolving, and on electron negative charge is there. Between unlike charges there is a force, electrostatic force of attraction. So here this is the tangential velocity tangent to the orbit, and to this velocity direction the electrostatic force of attraction is at 90 degrees. Therefore it will make the electron move in a circle. Similarly here, an artificial satellite is launched. You can take anywhere. See, this is the tangential velocity, and exactly to its 90 degrees gravitational force is there. So when a force is applied at 90 degrees to a velocity, then the force will make the object move in a circle. You can take anywhere on the orbit. Suppose the satellite is here, and here its velocity direction is this, and the gravitational force direction is this at 90 degrees. So when force is working at 90 degrees to the velocity, then that force makes the object move in a circle. And the force acting towards center of the circle is called centripetal force. Here the centripetal force is tension in the string. Here the centripetal force is electrostatic force. Here the centripetal force is gravitational force. So in figure 1, the centripetal force is tension in the string. In second figure, centripetal force is electrostatic force of attraction. And in third figure, the centripetal force is gravitational force. Force working towards center of the circle is called centripetal force, and expression for centripetal force is mv square by r. So now in the last figure, see, gravitational force is working as centripetal force. So here now we can write here as now how much speed this artificial satellite must have here, how much orbital speed it must possess so that it moves around Earth in a circle. So here the expression for centripetal force is mv square by r. Making use of this expression, we can calculate centripetal force. Similarly, for gravitational force also, there is universal law of gravitation given by Newton, and that is G capital M small m by r square. So here capital M is mass of Earth, small m is mass of satellite, and r is the distance between these two. So substituting the data, we can calculate the gravitational force working on the satellite. And here suppose first here if you want to launch a satellite, first you have to decide with what radius that satellite must revolve around Earth. This r you must choose. Once here you choose the r value, once you choose the r value, and once you design an artificial satellite, its mass is fixed, its mass will be fixed, and you fixing the radius also. Mass is fixed and radius is fixed. So now what is remaining? Velocity is remaining. So what tangential velocity it must possess, that is decided by making this equal to this. So here already you are substituting all the values and you get some value. So this value must be equal to this value. mv square by r is equal to G capital M small m by r square. So here substituting the values, we get a value for v. So if you maintain this speed, if you maintain this speed, that satellite will move around the Earth, and that velocity is called the minimum velocity to be given to the satellite in the horizontal direction. So initially I have shown you a figure. See here, at certain speed the object travelled in a parabolic path and fell down on the surface of Earth. Afterwards he increased the speed, then it travelled in less curved path and fell down on the surface of Earth. If you impart appropriate speed if you throw the object with appropriate speed satisfying this equation, then it will not fall down on the surface of earth. It will just move around the earth, and that speed is called orbit speed of the satellite. What is orbital velocity? Obtain an expression for it. Let us see the definition. The minimum horizontal velocity required for an object to revolve around a planet in a circular orbit is called orbital velocity. Its value will be, as far as Earth is concerned, for Earth. So we are launching satellites from Earth, and this value is from 8 kilometers per second to 11 kilometers per second. In this range it is. So sufficient horizontal velocity must be given to the object, then only it can acquire sufficient centripetal force, and only when the centripetal force equals the gravitational force of attraction between the object and earth, then only it can move around the earth in circular orbit. Now let us find expression for orbital velocity. The centripetal force required for the object to revolve in a circular orbit with a constant speed is supplied by the gravitational force of attraction of the planet on the object. So here I will write Fc is equal to Fg. Expression for centripetal force is mv square by r. Gravitation, the universal, according to universal law of gravitation, the gravitational force is given by G, mass of earth into mass of the object divided by r square, where r is radius of orbit. That is the distance between earth and object. So here to here capital R, here to here h. So small r is equal to r plus h. Now here m and m gets cancelled, and v0 square is equal to gm by r, and v0 is equal to gm by r, or g capital M by r plus h under root. So this is the expression for orbital velocity. So this is one equation for orbital velocity, and there is an approximation equation for orbital velocity. When height is very small when compared to radius of earth, then in this expression h can be neglected. Then we write Vo is equal to Gm by R. But there is a relation between small g and capital G that you know very well. What is the relation? G is equal to capital G capital M by R square, or Gm is equal to gr square. Here if you substitute this value, we get another expression for orbital speed. So this is second equation. While solving the numerical problems according to the given data, we shall be using either equation 1 or 2. A satellite is orbiting the Earth at a height of 1000 kilometers. Find its orbital speed. Height is given. Expression for orbital velocity is gm by r plus h under root 6.67 into 10 power minus 11 into mass of Earth is 6 into 10 power 24 kg divided by capital R is Earth radius 6400 kilometers and this 1000 kilometers. Kilometers converted into meters under root. So substituting these values, we get the answer 7. See here we get 7354 meter per second, or that 7.354 kilometer per second. A satellite orbits the Earth at a height equal to the radius of Earth. See here, height is equal to radius of Earth. So first find its orbital speed. VO is equal to gm by r plus h under root. Here gm by, in place of h you have to write r plus r, that is gm by 2r under root. So we substitute the values here. VO is 6.67 into 10 power minus 11 into 6 into 10 to the power of 24. Here 2 into radius is 6400 kilometers into 10 power 3 meters. So substituting the values, we get orbital speed as now second part, we have to find its period of revolution. Period of revolution means time taken by the object or satellite to complete one revolution. So second one time period. So time period, generally time is equal to distance traveled. See here you are calculating period of revolution, therefore distance traveled in one revolution. Time is equal to distance by speed. Distance is distance traveled in one revolution, and speed means that is called orbital speed. Orbital speed. So distance traveled in one revolution means 2 pi r. Orbital speed is VO. But here orbit radius is a sum of r plus h. R plus h. And here it is given that the height is equal to radius of Earth. Kepler value we know 6400 kilometers or into 10 power 3 meters, and that divided by speed. Speed just now we calculated 5592 meter per second. So now by substituting the values we get the answer as we get this much seconds, and this when converted into hours we get 4 hours. Show that Earth satellites obey Kepler's third law. So far we studied that all planets move around Sun in elliptical paths and they obey the Kepler laws. Now around the planets satellites are moving, and the satellites move. Some of the satellites move in approximate circular orbits and some of them move in elliptical orbits. So whether they move in circular or elliptical paths, they definitely obey the Kepler's third law. Now let us see here. The time taken to complete one revolution, that is time period, is equal to the distance traveled in one revolution is nothing but 2 pi r by time is equal to distance by speed, that is orbital speed, and 2 pi, this is orbital radius, and you get the radius by adding earth radius plus height, r plus s. So in place of small r you write r plus h by, and v naught means orbital speed, and that is gm by r plus h under root. Just now we derived the expression. So t is equal to 2 pi r plus h into r plus h by gm 1 by 2 and here root. So we get here power 1, here 1 by 2, 1 plus 1 by 2, 3 by 2. So 2 pi r plus h 3 by 2 by root g m, squaring on both sides. T square is equal to 4 pi square, and here r plus h 3 by 2 squared by gm. So we get 4 pi square, 2 gets cancelled, r plus h cube by gm. Or t square is equal to 4 pi square by gm into r plus h cube. So in this g and m are constants, so this is constant. So this can be taken as constant of proportionality, so that you can write t square directly proportional to r plus h cube. This is Kepler's third law. This is Kepler's third law, and you remember the constant of proportionality is 4 pi square by gm. And you remember, if h is very small when compared to radius of earth, then here we take, so we write the equation as 4 pi square by gm into just r cube. So while solving the problems based on the given data, we either follow this equation or this equation.